We tend to think of the history of science as the straight upward line of progress, right? Just one discovery after another. Well, today we're looking at a source that blows that idea wide open. It reveals a shocking break in that line, a massive, mysterious gap in history that makes you question everything you thought you knew about how knowledge survives. Okay, let's just dive right in. We are about to uncover a completely lost chapter, a period where science in Europe basically just stopped for almost 1,500 years. And this isn't some minor historical footnote, it's a huge, profound mystery. I mean, this slide just lays the whole puzzle out perfectly. You've got Aristotle doing hands-on biological research, and then, for more than 1,000 years, crickets, almost nothing. It's like somebody just flipped a switch off. We have to figure out what could possibly cause an interruption that profound for that long. And here's what's really wild. We're not talking about losing a few primitive ideas here. We're talking about incredibly advanced experimental science. The ancient Greeks weren't just thinking deep thoughts, they were doing things. Measuring the planet, building actual steam engines, proposing a sun-centered solar system. This is the amazing knowledge that just got put on pause. So if we're going to solve this historical whodunit, we've got to look at the prime suspects. Our investigation is going to start in Europe, which was ground zero for this great silence. Let's examine the evidence. All right, let's look at a major cultural shift. Suspect number one. The source suggests that with the rise of Christianity in Europe, priorities just changed. The focus shifted away from investigating the physical world around us and more towards matters of faith and the afterlife. It raises a really big question. When a whole society's values shift, what happens to the support for science? Next up, institutional collapse. You have to remember, the Roman Empire was the infrastructure for knowledge. It had a network of schools, libraries, and academies. And as the slide points out, when that empire fell apart, the very places where science could even happen just started to disappear. This wasn't just a political collapse, it was the beginning of an intellectual one. And our third suspect is something much more simple and much more brutal, just basic survival. In an age of constant instability, war, and economic hardship, society's priorities did a complete 180. You're not funding intellectual pursuits when all your money and resources are going into defense and just keeping society from completely falling apart. Science became a luxury that almost no one could afford. But here is where our story takes a really fascinating turn. Because while the lights went out on experimental science in Europe, they were burning brighter than ever somewhere else. This story does not end in Europe, not by a long shot. Wow, this slide paints such a stunning picture of two parallel worlds. On one side, you have Europe, literally forgetting how to do basic engineering that the Romans had mastered. But on the other side, scholars in the Islamic world were having a scientific golden age. And they weren't just acting as librarians for old Greek texts. They were true pioneers. They invented whole new fields like algebra, revolutionized optics, and mapped the heavens with unbelievable accuracy. The flame of knowledge hadn't gone out. It had just been passed on. So what this all points to is that it wasn't just one thing. It wasn't only religion or war or even the fall of an empire. The real culprit, it turns out, was the collapse of something much, much bigger and a lot more fragile. And that culprit is what the source calls the knowledge ecosystem. This is the key idea right here. Science isn't just about a few brilliant minds having a eureka moment. It's a living system. It needs support. It needs universities. It needs funding. It needs communities where scholars can argue and collaborate and build on each other's work. Without that system, knowledge just withers. And this shows you exactly how it happens. It's a domino effect. The institutions crumble, the funding dries up, and the community of thinkers breaks apart. But look at that last step, because it's terrifying. Knowledge doesn't just get forgotten. It actively disappears. The tools, the language, the very ability to understand and use the knowledge is completely lost. So this entire story builds to a really stark and powerful warning for us today. This isn't just some dusty history lesson. It is a serious cautionary tale for our own time. So why does all this matter now? Well, because the single most important lesson from the Great Silence is that scientific progress is not guaranteed. It is not a permanent trophy that we've won. It's a delicate, fragile system that we have to actively maintain and support, or we could risk losing it all over again. And that leaves us with this final chilling question from the source.
We see ourselves as so incredibly advanced, right? But how secure is our own knowledge ecosystem? Could a major global disruption, economic, political, environmental, cause our most complex scientific achievements to just disappear? It's a powerful and maybe a little scary thought to end on.